What is machine learning? Machine learning. Machine learning is a very exciting field at the intersection of statistics and I guess maybe artificial intelligence one might say. And in this video I'm going to introduce you to some examples of applications of machine learning, and maybe if I get to it in this video, some different classes of problems which are considered machine learning problems. So first I tried to write down a definition of machine learning, but it's really difficult because it's such a broad field. So here's what I came up with. So machine learning is designing algorithms for inferring what is unknowns from knowns. That's just my definition. And so I emphasize algorithms because machine learning is, I would consider it as a subfield of statistics, and machine learning has a particular emphasis on algorithms as opposed to statistics more generally, which is more focused on sort of theory and obtaining analytical forms for expressions that you can apply. So that's algorithms. Inferring. So I say inferring because to emphasize the statistical notion of inference. And so machine learning typically uses probability and statistics to do inference. And this is the canonical problem. Any type of machine learning problem that I can think of, at least, you're given some knowns. For example, you're given some examples of something or some data, and you have to answer some question about that data, or maybe you're given a new example and you have to answer a question about the new example. So that is an attempt, at least, at a definition. And now, so I wrote down a list of applications of machine learning just to give you a sense. So if this definition doesn't cut it, maybe we can define it by example. Give you a sense of what machine learning is. So here's a first example. And these are all sort of things that machine learning has more or less, to some degree at least, successfully dealt with. So spam. So, when you get an email from a crazy person who's trying to sell you something, Viagra or something. So filtering out spam is a problem which people have attacked with machine learning techniques, and to some, fairly successfully, using that along with people identifying what's spam and what's not spam. This has more or less been handled quite well by machine learning techniques. So spam detection, handwriting. You can write on your computer something in handwriting, and in your handwriting, and your computer oftentimes can detect what you're writing. So machine learning algorithms are used to detect what you're writing, what letters and what words. So that's a sort of image recognition, face detection, and license plate. So Google, I'll say this. So Google, say it this way. Google Street View, where you go on Google Maps and you can click the little dude and he flies down and you can walk around as though you're walking along the street. So on Street View, they have to, for privacy reasons, blur out people's faces and license plates. And they use, at least as far as I understand, they use machine learning techniques, or that's a problem at least that people have attacked with machine learning techniques, is recognizing faces and license plates and reading license plates even in video, or rather typically just in images. So another one is speech speech recognition. So your computer can, well, if you have the right software at least, well, I know that like the latest versions of Windows have a speech recognition engine that you can, like Windows 7 and I think Vista has speech recognition engine that uses machine learning techniques to recognize what you are saying and convert it to, text or whatever. Dragon Naturally Speaking is a very good speech recognition engine. Another one is the Netflix recommendation system. So when you go on Netflix and you have some list of videos that you have already viewed and you rate them according to how well you like them. Well, Netflix has a system where they say, based on your previous viewing and other people, here's what we think you might like. And they use machine learning techniques to try to figure out what you might like. And there was a competition called the Netflix Challenge, which was a big machine learning competition to try to improve Netflix's recommendation system. So here's another one. So as you can see, there's a very wide range of applications for machine learning, which is perhaps typical of statistics, because just about everything in the real world involves statistics. So another one is navigation. So if you are a robot, for example, well, you're probably not a robot, but if you were designing a robot and you wanted to tell it how to program it to be able to navigate around the city, say, something like that, maybe you wanted to program it to, or maybe less ambitiously, just to navigate around a building. What people have used machine learning techniques to keep track. So you have to integrate lots of information. You've got like all these sensors, video, and lasers, and you've got an inertial, a gyro and accelerometers maybe telling you how you're moving around, and you have to integrate all those sensory information, and maybe you have a map or something. So integrating all that together is a probabilistic statistical problem which people use these machine learning algorithms for. And here's one more. I guess I just have one more on my list. So climate modeling. People, like if you're interested in the weather and modeling like the global weather patterns, you don't get every point on the globe. You don't get measurements, and you don't get measurements at every point in time, but you want to infer, you want to sort of, in some sense, interpolate between those points and be able to predict what the climate, what's going to happen. Of course, it's a very, very complicated problem. The weather is extraordinarily complicated, chaotic even, perhaps, but you can at least do a good job when you have, at least in the short term, and but even with not very many sensors, you can use machine learning techniques, or people do use machine learning techniques for climate modeling. So those are a few applications to give you a sense of the very broad scope of machine learning.